Hello, I'm Paulo Shakarian, CEO and co-founder of Cybercon. Thanks for taking the time today. We have an interesting topic for you. And that topic is systemic threats in cybersecurity. So let's say you are a chief security officer responsible now for a portfolio of companies. Maybe you work at a private equity firm or a holding company, or just maybe a large enterprise that has had many acquisitions over the years and as a result, many varying business units. Now, of course, if one of those companies gets breached, that's a bad day. But uh, honestly, we're going to expect these companies to be breached from time to time, and likely it's manageable. However, when you start to see multiple simultaneous breaches, this is something that can lead to a significant loss of value across the portfolio and should be avoided. Now, if you look at, say, flood insurance, and you want to identify the systemic risk to a group of houses, that's fairly easy. The common factor that leads to that risk is geography. And so if you look at the floodplain the house lies on, you can understand when it will likely be flooded in relation to other houses that are being insured. However, cybersecurity doesn't quite work that way. Let's take, for example, the NotPetya cyber attack. Here we see 4 companies that are very different, both in terms of geography and industry vertical, yet all of them had hundreds of millions of dollars in damages due to the same cyber attack. Geography, industry vertical were both different among them. However, the attack technique was common. So this is maybe the clue to uncovering these systemic threats, preferably before something like this happens. So how can we identify systemic threats to portfolios for cybersecurity? Well, first, we need to understand which subsidiaries or portfolio members share common vulnerabilities. Second, what are the active threats affecting those vulnerabilities? Because again, risk is all about threat and vulnerability together. And then examining which combinations of threat and vulnerability pose the greatest impact to the portfolio. And this deals with examining the severity of the threat and how widespread that vulnerability is across the portfolio. In order to do this, the subordinate units must have visibility on both their assets and vulnerabilities, because otherwise they will just get that step wrong. Secondly, is the portfolio CISO must have buy-in from management so he can enforce reporting requirements from the subordinate units, because he needs to have visibility on their assets and vulnerabilities. Finally, the portfolio CISO must also have a source of threat intelligence that he can then align with that information from the subsidiaries. And it's only by analyzing the two together can they paint an accurate picture of the systemic threats to the wider portfolio. Now, Cybercon, we have a product that helps with the identification of systemic risk called Fusion that allows you to take a look at the common vulnerabilities across the portfolio and then in turn map the threats to it and produce the results in a very concise manner. So anyway, if that's of interest to you, please visit our website or reach out. But again, thanks for taking the time today.